Hi everyone, my name is Jarvix Kino and I'm going to report about a corpus linguistic analysis of Philippine English and student publication editorials. So let's proceed to introduction. So technically the Philippines as a former American colony has developed a unique variety of English known as a Philippine English. So this variety has become an integral part of the country's linguistic landscape, serving as a vital tool for communication, education, and business and international relations. So, student publication editorials written by the young Filipinos offer a valuable source of data for examining the linguistic features, discourse styles, and cultural values of PE or the Philippine English. These editorials provide a platform for students to express their opinions, perspectives, and creativity reflecting their language use, attitude, and identities. So basically, despite the significant PE in student publication editorials remain under studies. Previous research has primarily focused on the phonological, grammatical, and lexical features of the Philippine English with limited attention to use in a specific context such as student publication editorial. So basically, this study aimed to address this gap by conducting a corpus linguistic analysis of PE in student publication editorials using a corpus of editorials for various student publication in the Philippines. So let's proceed to define important terms. So the first one that we have is a corpus. Basically, it is a large systematically collected database of text, in this case, student publication editorials. And the second one that we have is a corpus linguistics. So it is a methodology that uses computational tools to analyze large databases of text, aiming to identify patterns, trends, and relationships in language use. Of course, we have the Philippine English. So it is a variety of English spoken and written in the Philippines, shaped by the country's history, culture, and the language contact. And of course, we have the student publication editorials. It is articles written by the student, typically for university of college publications that express opinions, perspectives, or commentary on various issues. And we have the linguistic feature. It is the aspect of a language such as vocabulary, grammar, syntax, discourse, and the pragmatics that are analyzed in the corpus. And next, we have the lexical, the density, the proportion of content words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs in the text. The next one is the systatic complexity. It's about the complexity of a sentence structures, including clause, relationships, and phrase structure. We have these core markers. So it's a words or phrases that signal relationships between ideas, such as however, in addition, and meanwhile. The next we have pragmatics or pragmatic markers. So words or phrases that convey speaker's intention, attitude, or tone, such as please, thank you, and I'm sorry. We have the register, so a variety of language associated with a particular context, purpose, or audience, such as formal, informal, or academic register. And we have genre, a category of texts that share similar characteristic, purposes, or structures such as editorials, opinion pieces, or news articles. We have variation, differences in the language used across different contexts, speakers, or texts, including geographical, social, and cultural variations. We have the frequency analysis, a statistical method used to identify the most common words, phrases, or linguistic features in a corpus. And we have the collocation analysis, a statistical method to use to identify words that frequently co-occur with each other in corpus. And lastly, we have the synthematical field analysis, a method used to identify groups of words that share similar meanings or connotation in the corpus. So basically, this definition provide a foundation for understanding the concept and terminology used in the study. So let's proceed to objective of research. So basically, this objective has divided into two. First one is the primary objectives, and the second one is the secondary objective. But I'm going to pick the primary objectives. And the first one, the primary objective indicates that to identify and describe the linguistic features of the Philippine English in student publication editorials, analyze the vocabulary, grammar, and discourse patterns used in editorials to determine the distinctive characteristic of the Philippine English. And the second one is to examine the frequency and the distribution of linguistic feature in the Philippine English editorial, investigate how often certain linguistic features appear in the editorials and how they are how they are distributed across different sectors or topics. Let's proceed to important finding. So the first one that we have is we have the lexical finding, of course. The first one in lexical finding is the unique vocabulary. So the student or the study reveals a set of unique vocabulary items characteristic of Philippine English, such as jeepney. So a mode of public transportation, and sari-sari store, so it is a small convenience store, and bayanihan, it is a Filipino term for communal or community unity. And the second one, we have the collectional patterns, and the analysis showed that the Philippine English exhibiting distinct collectional patterns such as strong leader instead of powerful leader. You can see the difference. And big problem instead of serious problem. The third one that we have is the semantic fields. So the study identified semantic fields that are prominent in English Philippine, such as family, foods, and social relationships. And of course, we have the grammatical findings. So the first one is the tense and aspect. The analysis reveals that the Philippine English tend to use the present perfect tense of less frequently than other variety of English. The second one is the modal verbs. So the student or the study shows that the Philippine English exhibit a higher frequency of modal verbs such as can, could and would compared to other varieties of English. And the last one that we have is the passive voice. So the analysis finds that the Philippine English tends to use the passive voice more frequently than the other varieties of English. Of course, we have the discourse and pragmatic findings. The first one is the politeness strategies. So the study reveals that the Philippine English employs distinct politeness strategies such as using honorifics, for example, opo and po, and titles, example, sir and ma'am. So, yeah. And the second one that we have is the score markers. The analysis show that the Philippine English exhibit a higher frequency of the score markers such as you know, I mean, and so compared to other varieties of English. Number three is the impoliteness strategy. So the study finds that the Philippine English employs distinct impoliteness strategies such as using irony and sarcasm. And the last we have is the social linguistic findings. The first one is that the language contact that analysis reveals that the Philippine English exhibit features resulting from language contact with Filipino languages such as Tagalog and Cebuano. The social identity. So the study shows that the Philippine English is used as a marker of social identity, particularly among young Filipinos. And the third one is the language attitudes. The analysis finds that the Filipino exhibit positive attitudes towards Philippine English, viewing it as a legitimate variety of English. So basically, this find contribute to our understanding of Philippine English and its unique characteristic, which can inform language teaching, language policy, and communication strategy in the Philippines. So yeah, yun lang. Thank you so much for listening. God bless.